over to our first speaker of the day, President Kathy Sandeen.
Thank you, Professor Rao, and it is such a pleasure to be here today. I am greeting you from my new home that I just moved into. I don't even really have my Zoom setup figured out yet, but this is my very first Zoom meeting that I'm doing from my new home, and I think it's fitting because this is a women's in leadership, and it's kind of a acknowledgement of all the things that we balance as women, right? So anyway, I thought it was fitting. It is my pleasure to be here to really recognize and thank our student fellows for their extra work and accomplishments, for our mentors, fabulous group of women leaders from our region who are mentoring our students. Thank you so much. I can't wait to be able to meet you in person someday soon. To our sponsors, whose financial support really made this possible, and to our faculty in the College of Business and Economics, and in particular, Professor Rao, for her personal passion in keeping this program, starting this program and keeping it going and building it up. Supporting women leaders has always been important. I think we make places better. I think we bring a different perspective to organizations. We have all the technical skills that anyone would need in running organizations, but I do think we bring a little bit more in terms of emotional intelligence and relationships, and that's so important. We know that through this COVID pandemic, working women have been a group that has been greatly affected, if not losing jobs, having to balance childcare and family responsibilities and all of that while continuing to work. And we also know that women of color were even more affected in a negative way by COVID-19. I am so excited to know that the projects that our students and mentors worked on are social impact projects. I really think that after being at Cal State East Bay just a short time since January, that social impact is really kind of a hallmark and a core value of what we do here, and what makes us distinctive and how we can have an impact in our community. I've been trying to define, how do I describe Cal State East Bay? And I've kind of landed on some words to throw out there. How I see it is Cal State East Bay is a connected organization. We forge connections internally and externally. Cal State East Bay is an agile organization. We respond to our environment and needs, and we can pivot quickly. COVID has certainly taught us that, but we should keep that going in other ways, even when we're back to more normal. Cal State East Bay is a transforming organization. We transform the lives of individuals, organizations, families, communities, and Cal State East Bay is a just organization. We are always focused on social justice in everything we do. And so as I look at what you have accomplished here in the leadership program this academic year, it really touches on all of those elements, and it really is woven into the heart and soul of Cal State East Bay. So kudos for what you have done this year. Let's keep it going into the future. I think it's a wonderful program, and let's celebrate today the accomplishments and achievements of this year. So thanks for inviting me to be here to say a few words. I look forward to viewing some of the program as we go on today. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, President Sandeen. Our next speaker is Associate Provost Linda Daw.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm very happy that Asha asked me to come this morning. It gave me a chance to review just a little bit the last 3 years here. I wanted to start with September 25th, 2019, when Asha wrote to me. I just wanted to share the details of my current project of women in leadership. And she goes through the whole history in this little email about how she came up with this idea. And for some reason, I retained it in my email. But what I really liked about it was that she wanted women to dream about being leaders and to make that dream come true. And today when I asked, she said she had 10 driven students in this program. And that was exactly what she set out to do 3 years ago. And she invited me to the very first meeting, which she said would be on October 14th and 15th. And this is the only way in which she didn't really live up to her promise, because it was on October 16th, 2019, that Asha had her first meeting. She had a very clear concept for this program. She set a timeline, she identified leaders and supporters, and she wrote about what the program would be. She said, the College of Business and Economics is piloting a fellowship program to reduce the gender gap in leadership by providing opportunity and mentoring high potential students in our MBA program. The program seeks to help selected MBA students leverage their experience, energy, and learning for social good and to prepare them for leadership roles in their careers. And I think that's exactly what she has been doing for these last 3 years. And also I should say that somehow in these little email messages, she summed up exactly what all of us need to do as we're on the goal up the ladder. You set a goal, you know there are obstacles, but you try to overcome them. You have a clear vision, you partner with others, which Asha has done wonderfully, and you have persistence, which I've got to tell you, if you don't know Asha, persistence is a hallmark of her character. So, but she did want me to acknowledge all of the mentors who have helped. And I know I'm not going to say their names correctly, so I made these slides so that you could see your name, even if I don't pronounce it correctly. Amy Scholdanger, who I saw is here. Kim Castellanos, who I saw was here. Ashwini Vasudeva, Dorothea Sieber, Wenli Wang, Tammy Cameron, who I saw. Tammy, why don't you wave? I see you there. Shanti Gonzalez, Jana Hunt, Christine Musselman, Shyla Demby. I know some of you are here. And then these 2 names I recognize from the very first email I received about this program, Chitra Nayak and Rupal Hollenbeck. So I think they've been teaching in the program and serving as mentors. And of course, I want to thank the supporters within the university. Penny Pink, who is here. Penny has been involved with the paperwork from the very beginning. Hongwei Du, Asha's chair, who's here with us this morning. Thank you, Hongwei, for being here. And Provost Edward Inch, who could not be here this morning, and that's why I'm here. But I'm very glad to be here because I want to thank Asha for having this dream and implementing it and making sure it continued. So thank you, Asha, for that. And now I want to turn the screen over to our next speaker, who I believe is Dr. Nancy Mangold, the interim dean of the College of Business and Economics. Nancy?
Thank you. First, I want to thank President Sandeen and our Associate Provost staff for your dedication to participate in our students' event today. We greatly appreciate your presence here. I am very honored to be here today and excited to meet all the Will Fellows, the students, the mentors, and the nonprofit organizations that sponsor our fellows for the social impact projects. I would like to recognize the social impact the Will program has created with all the fellows' work. So Will has a very noble goal. That is leadership for good. Students will lift up others. That's exactly what they did. So in the Will program, several students have volunteered or partnered with multiple nonprofit organizations. Some students look for projects on their own, which can be a challenge. And these are some of the projects they work on, very challenging projects. They work on the homeless projects. They work on supporting women coming out of incarceration, and they work on people with disabilities. They are they make great contribution to the part of the society that really needs our help. And also some other students work with nonprofits that Dr. Rao and the program have connected to build alliances. So I want to thank all the students for your dedicated work to work on all the social impact projects to bring Cal State East Bay to these communities that needed help and to show our compassion and care and to all these community members. Next, I would like to recognize all our nonprofit alliances. So we thank you for all your contributions to our program, for sponsoring our students for these impactful projects. So first, I would like to introduce TIE, Technology Industry Entrepreneurs. Our students presented at their university pitch competition and are receiving mentoring and financial assistance for their work. We want to thank TIE for donating 500 tickets for your TICON conference. And we want to thank the representative from TIE today, Vani Suresh. Can you raise your hand so all our students and us, we can recognize you? Thank you. Next, I would like to recognize Desi Rainbow Parents and Allies. So our past fellow, Audrey, is serving on the board as treasurer. And our current fellow, Tady, is working on social media. So we would like to thank the two representatives from Desi Rainbow Parents and Allies for providing the opportunities to our students to work in your organization. And Aruna Rao and Anna Punko, would you please raise your hands so we can recognize you? Thank you. The next organization is Mili, and our current fellow, Elizabeth, is working with Mili. And today we want to thank the representative from Mili for providing this opportunity for our students. Usha Shekhar, would you please raise your hand so we can recognize you? Thank you. The next nonprofit organization is Centro Legal de la Raza. And we have our Will Fellow, Janette Campos, working with the organization. We also like to recognize the representative from Centro Legal de la Raza, Ramondo Jaquez and Juan Coloma. Would you please raise your hand so we can recognize you? Thank you. Next, I would like to recognize Humane Society of Silicon Valley. One of the Will Fellows, Sabina Whitmer, is working on the project with this organization. And we would like to recognize the representative from Humane Society of Silicon Valley, Sue McNeil-Binton. Would you please raise your hands for us to recognize you? Thank you. Next organization is Mosaic. Will Fallow Sasa is working with the organization on this social impact project. I would like to recognize the representative of Mosaic, Usha Srinivasan. Would you please raise your hand so we can recognize you? Thank you. Next, the Epilepsy Foundation, Will Fellow Manushree, is working with the organization. Thank you for the foundation for providing this opportunity to our students. In addition, we have two 2020 Will Fellows working with Nathri. Will Fellow Sanel was working there, and 4Cs of Alameda, and Will Fellow Chen Yuan is working there. Thank you for the 2020 Fellow for continuing what you have learned and pioneered in Will to continue your service to the nonprofits. We also like to thank several organizations for providing the conference pass for our students. We want to thank Watermark Leadership Conference, the Ladies Who Launch Women Entrepreneurs Conference, and the TICON on Entrepreneurship. So thank you for providing your support to the WIL program students. In conclusion, I really like to recognize Dr. Rao for dedicating herself to create the WIL program. She worked tirelessly on this program, whether it's on her sabbatical or her summer or winter break, or let alone all the fall and spring semesters. Her dedication created the success of the WIL program that we all are very grateful today. So I'd like to ask all the audience to give Dr. Rao a very, very, very big hand. Thank you, Dr. Rao, for your tremendous work and remarkable success with the WIL program. I also like to recognize our 10 WIL fellows and the mentors for their remarkable work on the projects that brings such a social impact to our community. Will all the WIL fellows and the mentors raise your hands so we can give you a big hand? Thank you. And I also want to recognize all the nonprofits here for providing this opportunity to allow students to work on these projects with your organization. And we truly appreciate your contribution to our program. Can we give a hand to all the nonprofit organizations here? They are really such an important part of the WIL program. Thank you. Lastly, I would like to recognize Penny Peak for her tireless work with donors in trying to fund the WIL program. So Penny, would you please raise your hand and let us all give Penny a big hand here. Thank you, Penny. Now I will turn over to Dr. Rao.
Thank you so much, Nancy. It is wonderful to actually see the line of leadership that we have at Cal State East Bay, and it is truly inspiring to follow our president, our provost, and our dean here. I'm going to speak very briefly about the program and what we've achieved. And if there is time, I will share a quick slide just to show you what we've done. The purpose of the program, I got to say, Associate Provost Job, you've done a terrific job of outlining the development of the program since I first started pestering you to show up and meet some of the students and some of the folks involved in the program. Yes, it has indeed grown. What I'm going to do is very quickly show you a quick chart of what we have here. And I hope that that will kind of tell us the story of what we can do here. So when I think of WIL, it isn't, I appreciate the kudos, but it isn't just me. It's actually a whole village, a nation, a tribe that's actually at work out here. At the core, we have our fellows, our mentors, our faculty, our staff, and students, and they work together. And then on the outer side, we have everyone else. We have the alumni and future leaders. We have our nonprofits. We have our East Bay community, and a huge community of women in leadership who reach out when we put things out there in social media. They reach back, like Shala or like Manju, who are out here saying, how can I help? And how can I be supportive of this program? So that has been amazing for us to see that it's not just one or two people, but it is an ecosystem that's there in terms of support. So just to highlight a few things of what we've done is we have grown. And in the last, from spring 2020 to spring 2021, you know, I can just see us develop phenomenally out here. We started off with 5 fellows who we experimented with, and I really appreciate them for everything they did. And now we have 15 in our cohort. And some of the fellows are still continuing, which is why I put in the 2020 fellows, because they've continued to work there. The volume of good that they have done is quite amazing, and you'll hear from the students themselves as to what they're working on. Our WIL cohorts have grown. We started off with 20 students in the first session, and now we have 70 this particular year. We're teaching 2 courses. We've had some absolutely amazing speakers, many of whom are actually online right now. So I thank all of you for coming in and really lighting up the room when you have these discussions with the students, because there's theory, there's concepts, there's talk about why women don't succeed. And then when you chart out your path to success, they're actually learning from you as you're going through this piece out here. A quick shout out to our young alumni, because we have C-suite executives, We have one S-suite executive from Amazon join us this time around, Colleen Aubrey. And then we had our young alumni who came in and had a huge impact. So Ruby and Hafiz were students in our spring, well, Hafiz was a student in our spring cohort, and they came in and ran a recruiting workshop for our students. So, you know, it was very easy for them to sit there and say, this is what you need to fix if you want to actually get a job. They're both at Facebook. So our students do want to go out there, and they did take the advice seriously. Our students are participating and winning in competitions that we never even envisioned. They're serving on boards. So we talk about women on boards, and it's delightful to see where they go and how quickly they're doing this. They're engaging in creative problem solving. They're taking risks, and you know who you are. Some of our fellows have taken pretty big risks, and they're learning from failure. So we've talked about resilience, and clearly they are building networks. In terms of our growth, we've grown from, as the provost pointed out, we've grown from a course to a fellowship to a program, and we're really hoping to expand. Honestly, I think it's going to expand even if we don't try, because the wind is behind us. We're an academia industry collaboration, which is why the boundaries are so permeable, and we bring so much in when we bring in people like Kim or Amy or Jenny into our classroom, and when they engage with our students as mentors or speakers. And that, I think, is the beauty of the design, is that it isn't just one or two people, but it's the entire system working together. We've developed an advisory council this year, and I think we've done a lot to raise the brand of CSUEB and the women in leadership by highlighting all the things that are going on here and what women are capable of doing. Just moving forward, I'm going to highlight just a couple of things and then stop with that. We want to have a conference next year on International Women's Day with our students, with our faculty, and with our industry speakers. And I think we can actually pull this off. We would love to have that. We're working on placement of the WILT students and hope that we can get university support for it. And we are continuing to expand our circles of engagement with mentoring circles. So within and outside, we're looking to grow clearly with your support, because we do need some resources there. And I'm going to end with thanks. I think our thanks are heartfelt, which is why you see the repetition there. Our mentors, advisors, CB, faculty, nonprofit partners, we are truly grateful to all of you. And a special shout out to the people I've listed out there. These are the folks who may not like my persistence, because I'm in touch with them so often. I have all your cell phone numbers too, so it's probably going to continue. But special thanks to all of you here for being our partners. I'm famous also for my speed talking, but I wanted to highlight our students. So I'm now going to hand it over to our very first mentor who joined our program really early and has been such a supporter and for us. Amy Schuldegger, I'm going to invite you to introduce our very first student of the day.
All right, thank you. And congratulations to all the fellows and mentors, and a big thank you to Dr. Rao for leading the program. So today I am delighted to introduce Natalie Rasmussen. I have thoroughly enjoyed getting to know her and working with her this year. She's been working on a big project, which you'll hear in a moment. She's in the MBA program. Her bachelor's is from San Francisco State University, and she works at the San Mateo County Transit District today. She's the mother of two boys, 10 and 12, and her project is Road to Independence, which is a very important project that addresses and supports the homeless. She recently took her project to the Silicon Valley chapter of the Thai University and won. So completely delighted with the support of some of her colleagues. So super exciting. And the next chapter on that will be to go to the global pitch of Thai University. So with that, Natalie, take it away.
Thank you so much, Amy. I'm so embarrassed here, but I'm not. So, good morning, everybody. So this is my social entrepreneurship idea, and it's called Road to Independence. Next slide, please. In the WIL program, I came up with an idea, and it has evolved, and it's now called Road to Independence. Thank you, Pam Miller. It's an idea using repurposed vehicles as shelters for homeless people. In this program, I was paired up with the amazing mentor, Amy Schuldegger. I love you, Amy. She has been my strategic advisor and support for my social program. But she's more than that. She's becoming my friend. I like to think so anyways. Next, please. So the problem I want to talk about here is homelessness. These days, you can't ignore it. It's everywhere you go. You see tent cities in parks and freeway underpasses. But there's a fallacy with the perception of homelessness. It's not just made up of people who are mentally unstable or people with drug addictions. People like you and me are part of the statistics. Students, teachers, parents, and working professionals. And we know the pandemic has exacerbated the homeless situation. Next, please. Even though we know there's a homeless problem, I want to present some data. There are 567,000 people experiencing homelessness in the US. And this map shows California as a hotspot with the highest number. Then it drops to New York at 92,000, 28,000 to Florida, 25,000 in Texas, and so forth. Affordable housing is the main reason why California has the highest number. Next, please. The bed shortages at shelters affect individual groups the most, with a negative 192 beds that are not available at shelters. This underserved group is who we are targeting with our solution. Next, please. So the Road to Independence is an affordable transitional housing program or solution. The cost is about $11,000 per person for a vehicle that covers insurance, gas, and basic supplies for 1 year, but it may be less if the vehicle is donated. The idea is to provide a repurposed operable vehicle that will serve as both transportation and shelter at night for those responsible homeless people. The program is designed to help them save money toward permanent housing. It's a program designed to offer hope. Next, please. On the metrics on who gets a vehicle, this person should have a job or actively seeking employment. They should hold active and clean driver license, proven responsible, and willing to give back to the program. So when we say proven responsible, some examples is if they have a job, they can keep it, and they check in routinely with the program. So being local is very important. Next, please. The three key resources identified in the program are funding, vehicles, and parking. To raise funds, some ideas included charging for paid advertisements on the vehicles, asking sponsors to pay money or in-kind donations for individuals, applying for grants, and requesting donations. To find vehicles, some ideas include asking for vehicle donations, discounted vehicles for purchase, and sponsors to pay for vehicles. Sponsors could be CSR companies and used car dealers. To find parking, some ideas include parking at safe parking program sites, campsites, and parking lots. Parking lots not being used at night are perfect for this program. And that kind of sums up the idea behind Road to Independence. Next, please. Now I want to talk about some program challenges that I've encountered. And they are commitment, time, and resources. Finding the right partnership and nonprofit to commit to the project was a challenge. These nonprofits have different priorities, and they have their own challenges with availability and time and funding. My second challenge is having enough time to develop the program further and expand my network. As a student, a full-time employee, and a mom of 2, my time is split and constantly reprioritized. The third challenge is really having enough resources such as funding and volunteers to run the program. Finding volunteers and raising funds require time, and that goes back to the second challenge. Next, please. We can't be in a leadership program without me talking a little bit about my leadership applications. So on the leadership skills, just like President mentioned about the university being agile, I myself have learned to be agile. There were so many challenges and changes. I had to be flexible and pivoting to the next best alternative solution. Amy and Dr. Rao really were great in guiding me through it all. And yes, I've developed some negotiation skills. I brought my problem-solving toolkit and I made concessions and took away some wins. This is all part of the compromising. And I expanded my network by building relationships. The WHEEL program offered many opportunities for us fellows and students alike, to network with world-class leaders, including my mentor, Amy. Externally, I've developed relationships with influencers and advocates like Sarah Lamlin, who sees potential in my vision, and we're all working toward a common goal, and that is ending homelessness. Next, please. And I want to end my presentation with some accomplishment through this program. I've gained confidence by talking to lots of people and getting in front of really smart folks like you and high net worth people. I've learned how to incorporate a nonprofit, so when the time is right, I'll sure use that knowledge. And I've learned what it takes to pitch when I enter the Thai University pitch competition. In the local chapter competition, I don't have to say it, but I will say it again. The final pitch led by Pam Miller won first place. I am so proud. And now the same team is moving on to the global semifinal competition. Did I mention I made a few friends in this program? The camaraderie and friendship will be with me forever. So thank you for this program. Next, please. Any questions?
Thank you, Natalie. I think we will save the questions for a little bit later, but we really appreciate your presentation. Now I'm going to invite I'm going to invite Tammy to join us and introduce her mentee, Maria.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. First of all, I am honored to introduce my mentee, Maria Gines. Maria is not only a participant in this Women in Leadership program, which is a lot of work, as you all know, but she is also graduating with honors with her undergraduate degree in management. And she's doing all that while holding a full-time job in the construction industry and managing a more than full-time family at home. So just truly inspiring. Maria is, I feel, a pioneer in her field. She's among few women that are in the construction industry who are really paving paths for other women and making a difference. It has been absolutely my pleasure to get to know Maria. I've learned a lot from her. You know, in this program, we try to offer guidance to our mentees, but if we're open-minded, we will also learn a lot from them. Maria is, her drive and ambition is just amazing. It has inspired me and has made me be a better person. It made me realize that no matter what you have on your plate, you can dig deep and push forward and be better. So I am excited about Maria's project. That's what this is about. This is something that she is truly passionate about, and she is can be very impactful in this area. She's helping women find their way, develop careers in an industry that has been mainly male-dominated, the construction industry. So thank you, Maria. Thank you for letting me provide what guidance I could. Thank you for letting me be a part of this project. And honestly, thank you for mostly inspiring me.
Thank you so much, Tammy, for that great introduction. I'm lost for words. Next slide. Changes are being made regarding women in construction. They are breaking down buildings and building them right back up. In the past, women didn't think about making construction a career. When women chose to work in the construction industry, they felt more comfortable working in the office. In 2021, there has been a rise in the number of women joining the actual trades, such as electricians, plumbers, drywallers, painters, and flooring. Next slide, please. In 2019, I had the privilege of joining the team that was constructing a new building for Kaiser, located in Redwood City. Back in 2018, when I interviewed for the position of project engineer, the site consisted of just dirt, a lot of equipment, and a huge hole in the ground. I was amazed on the progress that Swinnerton team made in a matter of 10 months. Next slide, please. Managing flooring, framing, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing subs was a great learning curve for my career. My favorite part was overseeing the build of the cafe from start to finish. This was a very important mini project for me because this cafe was going to be the first thing people saw when they entered the new building. The pictures on the right is the cafe in mid-build. There were many obstacles with coordinating casework, flooring, framing, electrical, and plumbing. The video on the right is the finished product of the cafe. Can you go ahead and play the video? As you can see in the video, the effort and hard work produced a beautiful, comfortable place for patients and healthcare workers to relax and get a refreshment. Next slide. In April of 2021, we released the completed building over to the owner. Our finished building made the news, and it was published in the Redwood City newspaper. I am proud to have a hand in this build. Men and women united to provide the community a safe place that provides healthcare. It's builds like this that motivated me to start my Women in Leadership project. Next slide. My passion has always been to help other women get out of their comfort zone and encourage them to try new things. My second passion, obviously, construction. Being able to be part of a team that builds structures that help society is an empowering and gratifying feeling. So why not combine both of my passions into one? My combined passion is to bring more women into the construction industry. Next slide. The initial work was a thoughtful process to develop interview questions that would bring awareness, inspiration, and an honest perspective from the eyes of real women who actually work in the construction industry. The initial outreach was difficult and very, very slow due to busy schedules. Interviews were conducted via Zoom and in person. I utilized my LinkedIn connections and touched base with every single woman in construction, and some of them I have never even spoken to. The response was amazing. So many women stepped up to volunteer to participate, to tell their stories. A resource link on medium.com was created, and it will highlight each of these interviewees and their inspirational stories and their perspective of the industry. Here's a list of some of the women who shared their passion with me to recruit more women into the construction industry. They were honored to be representing women and their companies that they work for. Next slide, please. Here are three of the first women I had the privilege of interviewing. Jennifer Lawrenson, who is a project executive for Swinnerton Builders. Her advice for women who are coming into the industry was to be your authentic self. Never turn down the opportunity to learn new things. And coming into the industry, have a good work ethic. Dina Kimball, the president and CEO of Royal Electric. Construction runs in her family. Her grandfather founded Royal Electric in 1971. She continues to learn the tricks in the trade and is eager to share what she has learned. Cynthia Talmadge is a carpenter foreman for Cal Contractors. When I initially reached out to her, she had just given birth to her baby days before she agreed to participate. Because of her interest and passion to get more women into the construction trade, she found the time to interview with me. She stated in her interview, juggling a family and a career is going to be hard in the beginning, but it will be all worth it at the end. My project does not stop here. My hopes for this resource tool is to expand it by enhancing it with information on how women can join the trades and unions, provide educational links for various positions in hiring companies, include career fair information and intern opportunities. Construction is a great opportunity to work as a team, develop leadership, and build your own road to success. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. That was a really powerful piece. We've kind of showcased you a lot as a woman in construction because we know it's a male-dominated field and we know you're definitely having an impact. Our next presentation is going to be a recorded one because I know the president spoke about the COVID's impact on women. We're feeling it on a daily basis. Taide has to go into work today and has sent us a recording of a presentation, but I'm going to hand it over to her mentor, Christine, to begin the introduction.
Hello, everyone. First, let me say I'm extremely honored to be part of the WILL program and happy to see it grow and succeed. My mentee is Taide Barb. She is a wonderful young woman with whom I've had the pleasure to work in the past few months. Taide is a first generation in her family to attend college. She's always been a hard worker and a dedicated student. She has 6 years of working experience already in retail and beauty product industry. She worked in sales, customer support, and digital marketing. Taide earned 2 associate degrees and a cosmetology license before attempting her bachelor's in business administration. She's dedicated and committed to improving her career and education. It's been a pleasure working with her. Despite working full-time recently, she continued to attend her classes and participate in Women in Leadership program as a fellow. Her project is with Desi Rainbow, a support organization for LGBTQ plus individuals and their families. She collaborated with them on their digital presence to support their goals. And now we get to see Taide's presentation. Like Dr. Ross said, she is unable to attend live, but she made a video presentation to let us know about the work that she did with Desi Rainbow. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Taide Barba, and this is my Women in Leadership presentation. My mentor is Christine, and the organization is Desi Rainbow Parents and Allies. Desi Rainbow is a community that provides support for the LGBTQ community of South Asian descent, youth, and to their parents. This project's purpose was to advance the goals of Desi Rainbow, which are based on the pillars of support, education, by creating online content that engages with the audience and also provides affirming support to individuals and to their families. With this, I was able to create content with information about educational resources like events and programs that have been impactful through messages to members of the community, as we've seen demonstrated by the numbers of clicks and views. I started a little late on this project, and I'm going to continue a little bit further than my other fellows, but so far I was able to publish 10 plus TikTok videos for events like the Desi Rainbow Book Club, the Eid celebration, and the upcoming Mother's Day celebration campaign. Here we can see a screenshot of 6 of the videos that are most recent, the last week or so, and with this we're seeing views ranging from 90 to 200. Ultimately, the goal is to continue to grow that even further by gaining more organic followers and engagement. So here, I'd like to share 2 of the most recent TikTok videos that we have been posting. To the left, I'll share the Eid celebration, and to the right is from our Mother's Day campaign, where we are showcasing 8 mothers, and each one will have a unique story that we've been sharing, I have been in charge of creating the ending graphic, some of the other graphics you're seeing on there, and choosing music, choosing where and when we're going to end and stop some of the videos to highlight and create more engagement. Also to have people come to our page and see that this is something that they can reach out to and be involved with. So I'll start with the Eid video here.
Hi friends, it's Nora. I'm reaching out today to let you know that Desi Rainbow Families will be hosting its first ever Eid celebration on May 15th, and you are invited. In order to find out more information, please go to desirainbow.org/EID.
It's been a true honor and privilege of mine to have a queer non-binary child. I have learned so much from them and their journey, which has also become part of my growth as a human being. I've learned to become kind, to accept myself and others, to truly embrace and celebrate diversity in all of its form. And more important than anything else, I've learned to stand up and do what is right.
Our goal ultimately is to create a support system for anyone that may be seeking it. And this goes to the whole LGBTQ community, for families, and any allies that may be wanting extra support. I'm going to be walking away with many great things from both my mentor and from my project. From my mentor, we worked a lot one-on-one to highlight some skills that I've gained through past experiences, job experiences, and also some of the stuff that I've learned at Cal State East Bay to help me land my next dream job or to take me to the next step. In my career, this will be anywhere from something in business or something tied into what I've been doing while I was in school as well. My mentor is always going to be a phone call or a text away for any guidance and support, and that's always something I'm going to be grateful for. For my project, I've also met two amazing people like Aruna and Anupam, who have helped me gain so much more knowledge about what it's like to run an organization like Desi Rainbow. Also, from the start to now, I have been able to gain a lot more knowledge, and this will help me to continue to spread the word to communities and to audiences all over the world in any way that I can. A last skill that has been really helpful is how to manage target audiences between different time zones to see how we're going to be able to gain the most ideal response. This is definitely something that's going to help me both professionally and personally, and I do thank both Aruna and Anupam for helping me. If you'd like any more information, I invite you all to visit desirainbow.org. Thank you. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Christine and Ty. Christine, you're evidently a wonderful mentor. We keep hearing that from fellows that you mentor. I'm going to ask Aruna to just say a few words about Desi Rainbow, and then we move on to our next team, consisting of Elizabeth and her mentor, Dorothea.
Thank you, Asha. I don't know if I am on. Okay, good. So I just wanted to say that it's been such a pleasure to work with students like Ty, and last year I worked with Aubrey Martinez. Our organization is a completely volunteer-run grassroots organization that focuses on supporting South Asian families that have LGBTQ children. The topic of being LGBTQ identities are deeply stigmatized in our communities, and consequently there's a lot of family rejection and subsequent emotional and mental health challenges that are faced by LGBTQ folks who are South Asian. So we do all the grassroots work and support so that families can in turn support their children. So for us to have talented and skilled students who are bringing, their efforts and dedication to uplifting our messages is really, really been important. So I'm really pleased to have been part of this program, and I hope that we can continue to partner together in the future to support women, and uplift women, and also to grow our own organization and reach more families in need. Thank you.
Thank you, Aruna. We're going to have a very quick video from Memely before Dorothea introduces her mentee.
It's a wonderful thing that education is free in the US, isn't it? Unfortunately, it is not equal. And the pandemic exposed that glaring inequalities, especially the digital divide. Hi, I'm Usha Sekar. I'm the founder CEO of Memely. Our goal is to improve equity in education. We do this using the ease of technology to connect students to people who can help them, because we believe learning is easier when there's someone to help you. We use the expertise of educators, because educators who are actually teaching the students know best what works in helping them stay engaged and grow in their learning. And we use the power of community, because community tells us where there's a need that has to be filled, and community provides us resources like volunteer mentors who can interact with the students and guide them along their learning journey. We are really thankful to Professor Asha Rao and Cal State eBay for providing us this opportunity to partner in the Women in Leadership series. And we're thankful for Elizabeth Sanchez for having worked with us in spreading the word. It was a delight to have her on our team for a short while. And if you would like to get engaged, or if you'd like to tell us about a need in your community, do get in touch. Thank you.
I am so excited to be part of the Women in Leadership program. Thank you for inviting me to be part. And I'm even more excited to introduce Elizabeth Sanchez. Elizabeth is originally from Houston, Texas. And one of the things that was most so refreshing for me, having been in tech my whole career, was that when Elizabeth and I partnered up for this project, she's been working in a completely different industry. She's been in the senior living industry for the past 10 years, and most lately as a community manager overseeing the entire community. And I can honestly say I learned so much from her just throughout these past couple of months, our conversations. She's graduating with a Bachelor of Science next year, and I can't wait to see what else she's going to do from there. Elizabeth, you've truly inspired and impressed me with your wit, drive, your positive attitude, and kindness. And I'm so excited for you to share more about your experience in working with Memely. And with that, I'm handing it over to you.
Thank you so much, Dorothea. At the start of the semester's program, I looked through several nonprofits. I knew I needed to find one that had a cause I could be passionate about. That's when I came across Memely. Go to the first slide, Alexa, please. They're dedicated to improving equity and access to quality education for young students. They team with corporations to match employee volunteer mentors with students to guide them through custom learning programs in core and enrichment subjects, all done online. Next slide, please. When I partnered with Memely, my goal was to streamline and develop their current marketing pilot program to allow for a standard guide that assists in establishing partnerships with corporations. This will facilitate a greater reach to either acquire volunteers and/or financial contributions. I wanted to provide a hard copy of a marketing plan for them so that this effort can continue after the semester ends. Memely will benefit from a standardized marketing plan because then any volunteer or staff member can jump into the marketing seat and have a game plan to solicit volunteers and funding from corporations. Next slide, please. When I started this project, I was sure I was going to get volunteers and donations for Memely. Super easy. First, I met with Usha Sekar, Memely CEO, who we just met, and was given access to their existing corporate outreach material. Then I put together cold call scripts and compiled their outreach flyers and announcements to determine which corporations will be given what marketing collateral. I have a background in marketing, so this was right in my wheelhouse. Then I made a point to discuss the importance of cold calls rather than emails because Memely's plea is personal and thus more successful over the phone than over the internet. Working from Memely's initial compilation of material, I worked with the Memely team to update their flyers to lend a more human connection to the volunteer mentor. I edited the call script and now it was warmer, and emphasis was added to the importance of not needing to be an expert to volunteer with Memely. Their lesson plans are simple, and I had to be sure not to dissuade anyone from volunteering because they weren't an expert in a subject. We updated the website with a volunteer tab and form to make it easier for volunteers to sign up. As the project continued, I began to reach out to smaller organizations within the Bay Area and Silicon Valley. This even includes our very own WILL program, its staff, the students, and their volunteer mentors. By mid-semester, I began to realize how difficult it is for small nonprofits to garner support and funds. As I continue to update the marketing collateral, I realized the importance of constantly reaching out to corporations, both large and small, in hopes of hitting just a few yeses. There was going to have to be corporate sponsor recognition on the website, and as the plan continued, I found it vital to volunteer as a mentor myself to lend credibility to my sales pitch. This allowed me some indispensable experience on how to volunteer with Memely, and it improved my ability to market for other volunteers. Next slide, please. What you realize is that your nonprofit is far from the only company calling asking for support. So what makes yours different? That's when I began to write my own Memely narrative. It's great we're helping students. It's even better that they're local. But what sets Memely apart? The volunteers. It's so important these days for adults to connect with the community and make a positive impact for the next generation. Memely helps you do that. No other volunteer work I've done has allowed me to connect so closely and conveniently with a student who actually looks forward to my guidance and support. So, with all that in mind, Usha and I created a corporate outreach email account so that the work and contacts I started could seamlessly be passed on to the person after me. It became quite clear that reaching out to larger corporations required a personal reference who could connect you to the right people on the inside. They have a longer process and a lot more red tape, so it takes a while. However, smaller regional companies were far more willing to listen to you, give you the email address of the person you're trying to contact, and they process requests a little faster. What I found was smaller credit unions tend to have community service representatives on staff, and volunteer work is part of their corporate goals. Thankfully, by the end of this semester, I will be able to secure a few of those teams to volunteer for Memely going into their summer and fall programs. Memely has just begun developing a financial literacy program that the credit unions are pretty excited to get involved in. Next slide, please. So, what's next? The project definitely doesn't end today. There will be corporate sponsorship page set up, my video testimonial added to the website, and reaching out to local media to share my narrative. And I hope the CSU Women in Leadership program will continue to promote volunteering for Memely, as it's a great opportunity for students to get their own experience in mentoring. And of course, I can't wait to do an in-person, on-ground fundraiser for Memely once the plague has been officially purged from the land. All right, Alexa, you can stop sharing. So, in short, when I first started the semester's project, I was sure I was going to be able to get corporations to throw donations and volunteers Memely's way. What I realized was that marketing a nonprofit takes a certain amount of grit and a whole lot of perseverance. For the no's cannot be allowed to deter you. The yeses cannot be allowed to placate you. And you have to continue with a lot of passion for your cause, no matter what. Thankfully, Memely and its team have that kind of stamina and that kind of passion, for theirs is a cause that counts. So won't you join me and volunteer for Memely too? Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. That's a wonderful pitch for Memely. Our next team, we have Shanti Gonzalez, who's going to introduce her fellow, Janette Campos, and we have two representatives from Centro Legal here. So I just want to again acknowledge that we have Richard and Jesus here, who are representatives of the organization, and to thank them for their willingness to work with us on this. So with that, let me hand it over to Shanti.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. It's been fun to hear everybody's stories. I want to introduce Janette Campos and just say that it's just been really fun to get to know her. She is not only a student, an undergrad business student at CSU East Bay. She also has her own nonprofit that she runs. It's called Future Students, and it's for students from her native Colombia to get the school supplies that they need. So it's been really fun to see her ambition and her genuine care for folks from her country. She has a background in hospitality, and she's getting her degree in concentration in general management. And let's see, what else can I tell you? She also founded the Women's Leadership Club at Berkeley City College. So I'm going to let her tell you about the project she's been working on this semester. Take it away, Janette.
Thank you, Shanti, for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. As mentioned by my mentor, I'm an international student from Colombia at CSU East Bay, majoring in business administration. Being a foreign student, Centro Legal's missions called my attention to work with for my project at the Women in Leadership. Next slide, please. Centro Legal is a nonprofit organization that offers bilingual legal services for low-income immigrants, Black and Latino communities since 1969. It also provides mentorship to the next generations of legal and law professionals of color through the U Law Academy. Next, please. What motivated me the most working with the Centro Legal is that I was able to share my experience as an immigrant student with those who are going through the same situation as me. At Centro Legal, I also have the opportunity to continue supporting others, as I have been doing during my time in the US, through personal projects such as running a fundraiser to support disadvantaged children in Colombia and voluntarily with elders in the Bay Area. Even though the internship was remote, I can say that my experience with the organization has been a two-way street where I have the chance to learn and give something back to the community. I was also able to establish a relationship with the community because I have the commitment to support. Next, please. So the Youth Law program is a 3-year program for high schoolers in Oakland, and it is designed to build confidence and understanding of the path to college. This program looks to the need to create more diversity in the legal profession, and it looks to inspire students to seek a career in the law for the betterment of our community. With the U Law in program, I developed and delivered a workshop about citizenship for the law program students. For the communications department, I translated information from English to Spanish, and I also designed an annual schedule for future social media posts, emails, and holidays that aligns with the organizational mission. Next, please. So the main purpose of the online workshop was to help immigrant students to learn about citizenship. This was a topic that aligned with the mission of Centro Legal, and I also consider it a topic of interest for many in our community. During the workshop, students and also myself were able to learn about the historical meaning of citizenship in the US, the struggles that some minorities in the US went through, such women, indigenous, and Black communities. And we also learned about the path to obtain some citizenship as an immigrant here in the US. Centro Legal will be able to use this training for future cohorts of the youth law academic students. Next, please. For the communications department, I have designed and create a content calendar for the management of the organization's social media channels. This was actually an ongoing project that started with different ideas and components. And after receiving the feedback, the communication director and I came out with a final auditing schedule, like the one that you can see right now, to keep track of the course of the actions that promote in English and Spanish the organization's services. Next, please. As intern at Centro Legal, I was able to build a bridge of communication between the staff members and the Spanish speakers in our community. So in that way, the organization have a more meaningful and impactful response of the process of reaching out their community and guiding them with their resources. Next, please. While supporting Centro Legal, I was also voluntarily responsible to manage the Instagram account of the Women in Leadership program at CSUEB, with the objective of highlighting 20 C-suite speakers throughout the spring semester. And in addition, I have created meaningful content to inspire and attract attention to the Women in Leadership program. If you wanted to know more about our program, please follow us on our social media at Women in Leadership CSUEB. Next, please. So one of the reasons that I decided to join the Women in Leadership, it was because I knew it would give me a place to practice and show my professional and theoretical knowledge. I have earned and enriched my knowledge and skills in the business world as a woman. And during the time of the Women in Leadership, I was able to gain more confidence in my business communication skills because English is my second language. It also helped me to hone my skills to keep building solid relationships with others in my personal and professional life. It also gave me a sense of belonging to the huge diverse community and environment that we are exposed in our school and in the Bay Area. The Women in Leadership has given me an opportunity to work with others side by side, joining forces, sharing experience, and learning from each other, walking and growing together. Next, please. So before I finish, I would like to give a special thanks to Shanti Gonzalez as my mentor, to Dr. Rao and all of the fellowship staff for the confidence and providing me guidance, feedback, and support during my time, to Centro Legal La Raza for the opportunity to connect and let me be part of their mission within our Latin community, and lastly, to my friends and the Jills, the undergraduate fellows. Next, please. So here's my contact information for those who wanted to keep connected with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janette. We're now going to move on to our next team. But before we do that, we have a short video to play that was developed by the SPCA. So we're going to play the video before Ashwini introduces Sabina and her work with them.
Hello from Humane Society Silicon Valley, located in Milpitas, California, in the heart of the South Bay. We are an independent, privately funded 501c nonprofit organization who has been saving animals and helping people for over 90 years. Our mission is to save and enhance lives, both two-legged and four-legged. We are the world's first model shelter. This is a designation we received in 2017 after meeting or exceeding all of the 543 guidelines for standards of care in animal shelters established by the Association of Shelter Veterinarians. We help over 6,000 animals every year find their loving home, and we perform over 8,000 spay-neuter surgeries. We have 2,000 active volunteers who support every aspect of our work. We are proud to have a 95% save rate, one of the highest in the state of California, which means that almost every animal that comes in through our doors can be treated, rehabilitated, and adopted. We are very proud to be working with the Women in Leadership program at Cal State East Bay.
Such a great video. Thank you, Dr. Rao, for having me participate in the Women in Leadership program. It's been a privilege to be a part of this program and serve the university that I'm an alumni of. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce my mentee, Sabina Whitmer. She is a very hardworking and a dedicated individual with great integrity and loyalty. Her passion towards the four-legged and the two-legged is amazing, and we share the same passion. So it was very easy to work with her. And it wasn't just her being my mentee, but I learned a lot of things from Sabina, how she managed her time and how she completed a project in spite of having two jobs, full-time school. She's graduating soon. And over to you, Sabina. Good luck.
Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for all your help with everything. So I worked with the Humane Society of Silicon Valley, HSSV. I conducted primary research to aid in the redesign of their educational programs for summer of 2021. Next slide, please. So who is the Humane Society of Silicon Valley? By the introduction video, you already heard that they're the first model animal shelter. Their mission is to save and enhance lives, both two-legged and four-legged. They have many services for animals, as well as volunteer opportunities, including educational programs for youth, as well as high school students. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic in March of 2020, they had to shut down all educational programs. Next slide, please. So for my project, I wanted to collaborate with the Humane Society and conduct primary research by helping to interview students to be able to place them in the program once again. I would then report the analysis in order to, once again, place the students and be able to use this analysis in the future to continue to help place these students in the best offerings for them. Ultimately, this all aids in the redesign of their program. Next slide, please. So why did I do this project? One of the main reasons I actually did this project is because I'm very passionate about animals. I'm pursuing a degree in business, but I wanted to in some way combine that in order to help animals as well. This was a great opportunity to do that. Additionally, I've been a small business manager for many years. I've mentored many high school students and given them their first job. I find this very fulfilling, and I saw this as another opportunity to do something very similar to that. In addition, I know that the stress of the pandemic can be very hard on everyone, including high school students, as well as pressure on the shelters with not being able to have volunteers and funding and all those things. Additionally, I think that the companionship that pets give to people really help them with stress, as long as you're educated on how to actually properly take care of these animals. I think that is very important. And I think, as you can see from this picture of me and my son, Bo, he's been a great emotional support for me. And I just think that it's really good for everyone to have something like that. Even if they can't own a pet, they can always volunteer and still help out. Next slide, please. So the primary research that I conducted, I first collaborated with the Humane Society. We worked in a team and think tank meetings. And then I constructed an initial survey where I asked questions about their professional development skills that they thought that they already had, as well as technical skills and their comfortability with animals. From this survey, we came together and we thought of some skills that we wanted to hear more about from them. These skills included leadership and mentorship, confidence and decision-making, adaptability, and motivation and passion. After this, we came together and we created more questions to ask in both written form as well as in Zoom group interviews. We wanted to get to know these students more so that we would be able to place them in the proper offerings that they are also comfortable with, but they could also grow with as individuals. In the end, I would report all the data to the Humane Society so that they could continue to use this information to not only place students for the summer program, but to be able to use these tools to see how they could continue to improve how they find candidates and place them. Next slide, please. So this is a picture of 2 of the questions from the survey. Visually, we were able to see what the consensus was on the skills that they thought that they had better developed, as well as ones that they thought they could have worked on more, which is why we got those 4 skills from this. Additionally, the bar graph right here shows the elements of customer service and animals and whatnot that they would actually be comfortable with. Most of them wanted to work with animals, which is that yellow bar right there. Next slide, please. So this is also a screenshot of the written analysis for the questions that we created. In this, I also color coded these and just wanted to observe these so that I could ask them better questions when we were in our Zoom meetings. Next slide. So this is my collaborative team. You've already heard from Sue McNeil-Binden. Below her, we have Corinne Stark and then Katie Blevins. We collaborated together throughout the process, and we also conducted the Zoom interviews and helped create some of the interview questions. It was really great working with them, and I think think tanks are the best way to do these kinds of things. Next slide. So what are my key takeaways? One of the main things is the primary research that we first conducted. When I was going into it, in more of a perspective of a hiring manager who's going to be best fit for this job, that kind of thing. But I really did learn more about how this is really going to help these students build their technical skills. In addition, the Humane Society has these amazing educational programs that I never really knew about. I had a lot of fun learning about these, and I think it's something that all students should become aware of and have as an opportunity for them. In addition, I think this is of great support to animals and spreads awareness to the future, who are students, to be able to communicate how animals need humans. In addition, and lastly, the most impactful thing is the support of high school students, especially during these difficult times. When doing interviews, they really opened up to me about some like harsh subjects that you could tell that they were really stressed about. I was very surprised that they did this. And I just think that this program is really going to help them get through a lot of their stress, as well as continue to be compassionate and be able to express that. So basically, I started out helping animals, but I ended up helping humans, which is something that I really didn't think was going to happen. So in the end, I just wanted to thank my mentor, Ashwini, so much for helping me throughout. And Sue, thank you very much. I know you're here today too. And I wanted to thank both my professors, Asha and Rupal, for hooking me up with the Humane Society. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that I got to do this project.
Thank you, Sabina. Quick shout out to Sabina. Our students are a team, and one of our fellows is dealing with a significant problem, and Sabina is actually jumping in to work with Kim on another project over summer. So really appreciate your dedication and your willingness to just go out there and try things out. Thank you so much for doing this. We're going to have a quick, I guess, a little change of the program, because the fellows actually designed the t-shirts that many of us are wearing today. And we'd like to just share the idea behind Jill of all trades.
Hello. After our first presenter, Tammy Cameron, spoke to the class, the symbol of Jill was created. Next slide, please.
Jills of all trades. It is a just, inspirational, loyal leader, determinator, empowering, fearless, and strong. Please.
Jill is more than just a person. She is a symbol that represents all women. Maria. Jill represents all women building and leading a team. Tay. Women have always had to master the art of multitasking, usually without recognition. Jill does so with style and grace. Me. Our Jill represents women's skill of juggling life responsibilities and succeeding. She's a female symbol of strength and perseverance. Sabina. Jill is fearless and conquering her dreams while empowering those around her. Nessa. Next slide, please.
8 arms for juggling all that she does. The weight, for she is strong both physically and emotionally. The laptop, for she is modern and smart. The heart, because she handles herself with empathy and compassion. And the crown, lest she forget who she is. Next slide, please.
Jill is a symbol that represents all women. So join us and be a Jill of all trades. Thank you.
Thank you, team. You've left a legacy for us to follow. And hopefully, as we move forward, we'll be able to use your logo and share your message with a lot more women in leadership. Our next team, before we begin, I just want to highlight what our team has done and also share some information on their nonprofit. So before our introduction, I'd like us to play a brief video by Usha Srinivasan from Mosaic America.
Hello, my name is Usha Srinivasan. I am the co-founder and CEO of Mosaic America. Our mission at Mosaic America is to help strengthen American communities and move them from diversity to belonging. We do this by bringing together artists and culture bearers from culturally distinct communities, giving them the time, space, and resources to co-create and co-present works to a broader, diverse community. And in doing so, we hope to break down cultural silos that we live in. A very important part of what we do is identifying culture bearers and artists in these culturally distinct communities. And that's the project that Sasa has been helping us with, the Culture Mapping Project. Sasa has been an amazing asset. The amount of research and analysis that she's done, tapped into many different disparate data sources, and helped us synthesize all of that to help make sense of what exists and figure out a way forward for culture mapping. So we're very, very grateful, and Sasa's impact on the organization will be felt for a very long time. And we look forward to continuing to have her on our team through summer. So thank you, Sasa, and thank you to Women in Leadership Fellowship. Thank you, Asha and Chitra. We really appreciate you thinking of us as a partner for this internship. Thank you.
Thank you, Usha. This is Wen Li, and I'm going to introduce my fellow Sasa. So it's been a really rewarding experience working with her. And Sasa is a full-time student. She also works full-time, and she's a mother of a toddler. And juggling all three, it's not easy for any person. So it's during this process, and I've seen her blossom. And not only her project evolved beautifully, but also her confidence level. It's really heartwarming, and it's also very, very rewarding for me to be able to help her through the process. So Sasa, take it over. Good luck.
Wow, thank you for the nice words, Miss Finley and Miss Usha. I didn't expect the video about the introduction of Mosaic. I'm so excited. Well, hello everyone. I was given an opportunity to work with great people on incredible project as part of my fellowship program, about which I will talk about more. Next slide, please. Here is the agenda of my presentation for today. Next slide, please. I'm grateful for Ms. Usha, the president and CEO of Mosaic, being here today with us. When she showed me one of their performances, I found it fascinating, and it was a rare experience to see the different artists from different cultures creating together an artwork that is unique and beautiful. Next slide, please. When I was offered to work on the Culture Map project, I was truly excited. Before moving to America, I didn't have a chance to understand how important it is to educate myself on the racial and cultural differences. I was really saddened every time I saw the news about increasing hate crimes in the Bay Area. Therefore, the idea of contributing to the creation of something that promotes diversity and equality to build a better society and harmonious life was truly exciting to me. I hope the Culture Map will help people to understand, accept, and respect the differences in each other. And also, I'm sure it will help people to see how beautiful and fascinating other cultures are. Next slide, please. Now I'll talk about the project briefly. Because of the time constraint, I cannot go to details. Mosaic team aims to develop a comprehensive interactive map that locates fine arts, performance arts, art education, events, museums, and venues around the San Francisco Bay Area region, including 5 counties. This map can reach approximately 6 million people and will be used by government, nonprofits, and public to inform where and how the arts are serving culturally distinct communities. Existing maps focus on cultural assets tied to a place, not on the communities that create and use the assets. Next slide, please. The Bay Area is a mosaic of culturally distinct communities, as Ms. Osha just said. Accurate representation of diversity is the first step to promote equity and belonging. Creating an inclusive cultural map requires a full and accurate understanding and acknowledgement of all the distinct cultures. Therefore, first, but the most important step for us was to define the culturally distinct communities. What attributes make communities as culturally distinct? Is it religion, or is it language? Is it food they eat, or is it art performance they go to see? We capture the attributes and assets that are unique to the community as shown on this slide. Next slide, please. Alexa, next slide, please. Can you go back one more time? Sorry. The graph we see on the left represents the race composition of 5 counties in California. We see these types of graph very often. Aggregating people into buckets based on race or ethnicity is of limited practical value for building community or delivering programs and services. For example, I'm in the Asian bucket, but there are so many culturally distinct communities in Asian race. Like about 250,000 people live in Asian category. They claim like 60 plus different races and speak 47 distinct languages in San Mateo County alone. Can you go next slide, please? Okay, the mosaic graph shows the profile of Filipino language speakers in the Bay Area. Each rectangle in the graph represents a different ancestry. People who speak Filipino language have reported 27 different ancestry types. So what I'm trying to say here is it is really important to look at the data from cross-cultural perspective to identify their assets and leverage them effectively. Our next step in the project is data gathering and validation, and I'm super grateful for the chance to stay with the Mosaic team and continue working on the project until the end. This is something I really wanted from the bottom of my heart. Next slide, please. Self-reflection plays a significant role in leadership development. This is something important I learned from the VO course and many amazing guest speakers. There were some points I wanted to give up during this journey. Going through the program while working and studying for my other classes and being an international student, I realized I was neglecting my baby, which I felt so bad for. But I'm grateful for my mentor for giving valuable guidance and advice that helped me to overcome my struggles and challenges. During our weekly meetings, my mentor and I had conversations around various leadership topics and her experience on those. I would like to point out key points that resonated with me from my conversation with my mentor, as well as from the Will course that helped me to change the way I perform tasks and the way I think through the process. For example, I was doing really bad on time management and prioritization. At the same time, I was feeling kind of proud of myself being good at multitasking. But it was really eye-opening when my mentor asked me to stop multitasking because it was actually harming the quality of my work. I hesitated for a moment and I watched the video she sent me and I realized, oh wow, multitasking is actually not a good thing as many people think and as myself before as well. And also skills I learned from my from working with Ms. Usha from Mosaic. Those skills are helping me to grow both personally and professionally. Next slide, please. My mentor also encouraged me to pursue my passion to establish a nonprofit someday, but I hope it's going to be really soon. As a starting point, I recently partnered with a nonprofit in Mongolia and raised funds needed to purchase devices for boys who successfully completed the capability training and mentorship program for boys, which aims to support high school male students from poor families to obtain higher education in Mongolia. Next slide, please. I can't appreciate enough for this amazing journey given by the university, especially Dr. Rao and her team. They went above and beyond to make this happen. I also can't express enough how thankful I am for all the guidance, support, and opportunity given by my mentor, Ms. Wenli and Ms. Usha. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sasa. I'm going to hand it over to our next team and have Jana Hunt introduce her mentee, Anna Boston.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. As a Cal State East Bay alum, it has been awesome to participate in the WIL program, but the best part has been getting to know Anna. I have learned so much from Anna this semester and the world of nonprofits. And I have to admit, at first, our different backgrounds made me question our match. But instead, we really discovered just how much as women we share in common. So over this semester, Anna and I discussed everything from building confidence to challenging bosses, work-life balance and parenting, and of course, Anna's fellowship, which is empowerment circles for previously incarcerated women. What impresses me the most about Anna is her authentic nature. And this really comes through in her communication, which is why the fellowship project that Anna created really aligns so well with her strong values for helping others. Now, Anna had a big ambitious dream for her fellowship, and I think Dr. Rao and I were both holding our breath at times. But it was Anna's persistence and her commitment to her vision that drove her to succeed. And I know this is just the beginning for Anna. I can't wait to hear about her journey forward because I know that she's going to continue to do amazing things for our community. So thank you, Anna, for making this mentoring experience so great. And I will now hand it over to you.
Thank you, Jana, for that wonderful introduction. Next slide, please. Simon Sinek, an author and inspirational speaker, says great leaders inspire action by starting with why. I aim to be an inspiring leader, so here is my why. I believe every woman has the right to dream, achieve, believe in themselves, love, and be loved. I believe it is human nature to make mistakes. I believe everyone deserves forgiveness and a second chance in life. This is my second chance in life, and I feel very fortunate to be here today. Next slide, please. Let me take you a little bit deeper into my why. On a personal level, therapy and groups helped me cope and reintegrate into society after a short stint in prison. Next slide, please. Thank you. So, is there a need for my why? The Prison Policy Project says more than 70% of women in prison and jail have a history of mental health problems. Also, women are more likely than men to experience serious psychological distress while incarcerated. Next slide, please. So how did I address this need? I partnered with a therapist who is a dear friend of mine. We used to work together in a classroom, and we would run groups together with students that had emotional disturbance. I also reached out to nonprofits, and I want to say it was about over the course of 3 months, I reached out to 5 different nonprofits: GRIP, Restore, Time for Change, Defy Ventures, and Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I thought it was going to be easy to partner with a nonprofit, and it turns out it wasn't very easy. And even though I was persistent and I negotiated, they just didn't have the capacity to house a program at this time. I think COVID has put a lot of pressure on everyone, a lot of businesses, and all nonprofits. So although 4 of the nonprofits are not able to house my initiative, I am in communication with one still, and we are discussing the opportunity and the possibility of offering my services through their program. It was through networking, which I learned in the Women in Leadership class is super important. I made connections with the 5 nonprofits through networking, and 3 of them I didn't even know existed, which is interesting because being a previously incarcerated woman, you would think I knew about all the resources out there, but I didn't. So due to COVID-19, I was bound by technology. I used Zoom, DocuSign, Google Forms, Google Sign, PowerPoint, email, and telephone. I created all consents for HIPAA compliance through Google Forms and Google Sign, and eventually DocuSign. I would like to take this time to give my heartfelt appreciation to Jana Hunt, my mentor. She is amazing. She made it very easy for me to persevere, to find resiliency in myself, and to get to where I am today. So Jana, thank you for holding me accountable, believing in me, and always giving me the best advice. We talked about everything from not giving up to thinking outside of the box. And I even got text messages checking on me after my second COVID vaccine. So thank you for that. Next slide, please. So what did I design? Empowerment circles for previously incarcerated women. It is a 6-week cohort, meeting once per week. We covered triggers, mindfulness, grounding techniques, and self-awareness. In addition to all the consent forms, I created the PowerPoint structure, including examples for the 6 sessions. The cohort model increases trust within the circle. The therapist must be representative of the women in the circle. A co-facilitator with a similar experience to the women is important so the women can see that there is life on the outside for them. And of course, we need participants. So I began a pilot empowerment circle to take a pulse and have a complete program to offer a nonprofit. I've held 4 of the 6 sessions as of this week, and the women look forward to our circle. I have a short story for you. So remember when I said I was bound by technology? Well, some of the women are not bound by technology. So I had to break those chains, print the forms out, meet the women at Popeyes to get a signature in person. So that, and again, that's one of the challenges with COVID-19, that everything is Zoom, everything is technology. And some women who are previously incarcerated, depending on how long they've been in the system, come out and they don't know how to use a computer, and they don't know how to use internet and Zoom and even email or DocuSign for that matter. Next slide, please. By participating in empowerment circles, the women can learn new healthy coping skills, self-awareness, increased self-worth and respect. We create a circle of support within the cohort. We gain connections to outside resources like financial education, and ultimately, empowerment. Through my pilot empowerment circle, I have touched the lives of previously incarcerated women. I have helped them take a path of healing. In this, I find success. Thank you.
Hi, Jenna. I'm Anna. I'm sorry to interrupt, but yeah, your time is up.
I'm done.
Thank you, Sonal, and thank you, Anna, for that inspiring project that you have here. Our next presentation is going to be a little shorter than we imagined. And I just want to say that COVID has had a huge impact on our program. I'm very sorry to say that Manushree is in India because her father passed away. She left in last week to see if she could take care of things there. I'm amazed at the strength of this girl, because she's been calling me after midnight typically, and has done two run-throughs of her presentation, and was planning to do this today, but her dad passed away in the middle of the night yesterday. And we are changing track a little bit and handing it over to her team, Shella and Dr. Surinder Sarnikar, to share what she has done. Thank you.
Thanks, Asha.
Thanks, Asha.
This is Shaila Denby, and I'd like to introduce Manushree. She's in second year of Master of Business Analytics and is planning to graduate in the spring 2020. And her subjects of interest are time series analytics, deep learning, and text mining. Can you hear me?
We seem to have a really bad echo. Is it possible, Alexa, to mute one of the screens and see what we can do? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I'll continue. So Manushree also has a lot of industry experience. She's been working for the last 8 years in India before she started her master's program here. And she's very passionate about data and the opportunities it presents. Data visualization has been her special focus. I have to say, her passion, dedication, and optimism has been an inspiration for me. And I'm really thankful for this opportunity. Over the last few months, the more we interacted, the more meetings we had and conversations we had, I was eagerly looking forward to our meetings. And I was swelling with pride, but also it was a learning for me as I watched her being, persevering her goals, trying to remove her roadblocks, learning on the go, and experimenting multiple ways to get the best results. I'm really proud of how far she's come. Manushee's project is on epilepsy research, and she worked very closely with Professor Rao and Professor Surinder Sarnikar on this project. She has created several interactive dashboards which can actually be used by public today. She used the US Census data to be able to analyze all of this information. I'll hand it over to Surinder Sarnikar to present her project.
Thank you, Shella. I think there was an echo, so I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe we can have everyone mute their audio just to be sure we can manage this better, and hand it over to Surinder Sarnikar, who's been instrumental with the project.
Thank you, Asha. Are you all able to hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you, Asha. So I'll be presenting Manushree's project on her behalf. Her research, her project has been on epilepsy, and specifically on workplace discrimination faced by those suffering from epilepsy. So Epilepsy is a condition of the brain and that causes seizures. It affects about 1 in 100, so 1% of the United States population, and it can develop in any person at any age. The causes for epilepsy are sometimes genetic, sometimes it's infection, but in half of the cases, the cause is unknown. And because of the condition, because of the seizures that people with epilepsy suffer, it also affects how people with epilepsy are perceived and accepted and integrated into society. Dr. Walker from the World Health Organization says that epilepsy is one of the most stigmatized, misunderstood, and under-resourced of all health conditions. So to study this area, the data set that Manishri used for this project is from the Center for Public Integrity's project on injustice at work, and which includes a decade's worth of data on legal cases related to employment discrimination. And what Manishri has done is that she's used a subset of this data specifically related to employment discrimination due to epilepsy. And the goal was to understand, to perform exploratory data analysis on this large case data set and understand the issues and provide some analysis to educate employers about issues faced by employees suffering with epilepsy, to educate employees about their rights, and also to bring some insight into this so that policymakers and public health agencies and legislatures can help with this situation. So here, what I have is some of the analysis that Manishri has done. And as you can see in this slide, we're looking at two things. One is how the number of cases, how do they vary by geography? And also how do they vary by the industry? So when looking at how does this vary by geography, we see, that the number of cases, employment discrimination cases filed due to epilepsy or by people suffering with epilepsy are higher in Florida, Texas, Pennsylvania, and Illinois, which is expected because they are also among the most populous states. But what you'll see here is missing among these top states is New York and Florida. And so that's providing us some insight, which we have to dig a little bit deeper into, but it tells us that when there are stronger state protections, the cases are lower as well. So there is a case to be made here that legislatures and policymakers can help with this particular issue. And when looking at epilepsy cases across the industry, about 47% of the cases are in healthcare and social assistance industry, which is kind of, you would think, ironic. But it could also be the case that employees in this industry are more aware of their rights as well. And the other industries in this top three are retail and manufacturing. Looking at the cases filed in particular industries, this is a slide that shows the cases filed in the healthcare and social assistance industry and what are the issues, what are the cases about. So the top three issues are about discharge, someone getting fired, wrongly fired, or reasonable accommodation where the company has failed to provide reasonable accommodation, or terms and conditions where the terms and conditions imposed by the company are unfair or illegal. So, and these three remain the top issues across. We've looked at what are the top issues across the different industries, and this is what Manishri's found, that these are the top three issues across 95% of the industry. And then looking at, we looked at then the cases that got closed and, what was the final finding or how did these cases close? Unfortunately, what this is telling us is that in majority of the cases, the finding is no cause finding. So employees aren't getting as much help. And that is the case, irrespective of what the case was about, whether it was about discharge, reasonable accommodation, or terms and condition, with small variations across those. But in more than 50% of the cases, no cause finding was the major, was how the cases were closed. And there's, given the short amount of time, I'm going to stop at that. There, Manishri has created these dashboards, and with Dr. Rao, we are in discussions with the Epilepsy Foundations to further refine these dashboards and then put it up on a public website and potentially with the Epilepsy Foundation. And so you can look at Manishri's profile on tableau.com, and that has many of these dashboards that include the data analysis that she's done with respect to this particular topic. I'll stop with that and hand it over to Dr. Rao.
Thank you so much, Surinder, for stepping in. I really appreciate you talking through it because you were guiding her right through the research on the project out here. And yes, we will share our condolences with her. She said she was going to try and log in, but I know it's impossible right now. We have a couple more things on the agenda, but we're also going to be time sensitive here. So I'm going to ask Petty Peak to speak first, followed by Kim Castiglionis, and Rupal and I will do a very brief close so everyone can get down to maybe an early Mother's Day brunch.
All right. Hello, everyone. I want to say a thank you to the Women in Leadership Student Fellows and partners for sharing a little bit about your leadership journeys and these inspiring projects. This is remarkable work, and you've given us insight into the power of this program. Next slide, please. We are grateful for the many people who have supported the Women in Leadership program this year. Special thank you to our 10 mentors who provided exceptional guidance and support to our Women in Leadership Student Fellows. Next slide, please. Thank you also to our 24 guest speakers who shared their considerable expertise with our students. Thank you to our many volunteers who have actively supported the program with their time and advice, including, of course, the guest speakers. And the next slide, please. The program could not go forward without financial support. Thank you to those of you who have invested financially to make this program possible this year. A special thank you to our anonymous donor of a $20,000 challenge gift, and to everyone who has supported the program to help us meet this generous challenge. This has been an amazing year, as you have heard and can see through these slides and presentations, and we eagerly look forward to what we can accomplish together next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny. We just founded an advisory board this year, and Kim Castiglionis is going to just talk from her perspective.
Yes, thank you very much. I had this great presentation and a story to share with you about why I'm volunteering to participate in the Women in Leadership program, but I don't need to do that because I think that the fellows who have shared their projects speaks for itself. At the end of the day, they seem to have one thing in common, and that is that their lives have been positively impacted by women who have taken, women and men, who have taken the time, have provided counsel, their encouragement to give these young future leaders the inspiration and the freedom to move forward in sometimes what seems very difficult and challenging opportunities. And I am here to be a catalyst to women, not only in this group, but moving forward to help to encourage them to continue the wonderful work that they're doing. Along with my colleagues, many of that you've seen many times today, Jana Hunt, Amy Scholdagger, Rupal Hollenbach, Wendy Wang, Chitra Nayak and Tammy Cameron. We represent the Women in Leadership Advisory Council. Our experience as executives in organizations such as Oracle, Salesforce, BlackRock, Moss Adams, North Face, and others, we've come together to provide strategic support, advocacy, mentoring, and funding to enable the Women in Leadership program to continue to be a powerful, sustaining, and effective resource for which our next generation of women leaders can launch their careers with confidence, conviction, courage, and the networks that they need to be successful. And we invite you all, if you are not already a member of our community, the WIL community, please think about considering being a donor, a mentor, a volunteer, a speaker, and help us build a better tomorrow by supporting today's amazing, amazing tomorrow makers. So thank you to Professor Rao and for all of the community who support the great work that these women have done. May we go on to build a healthy, more sustainable, more loving society.
Thank you so much, Kim, for those inspiring words. Rupal, are you able to get on and just share a couple of insights from your first experience in the classroom?
I would love to. Thank you. Thanks so much, Dr. Rao. And I just want to follow on to something that Kim said. Here's the perspective from the classroom. The partnership between Dr. Rao and myself has been absolutely extraordinary to see come to life in the classroom. Just as Kim talked about the industry perspective and all of the things that we're trying to do, having that, we're sort of two sides of a coin in the classroom. We keep each other honest. We have a solid grounding in academia, in the research, in the data, and then we have practical experience on the ground in different workplaces. Those two things, I think, make for an extraordinary combination. The other perspective I wanted to share in the classroom is what the fellows bring to the classroom. Our particular classroom is about 40 students, and with our undergraduate fellows, Janette, Elizabeth, Maria, Sabina, Ty, what they're doing in the classroom is they're leaning in. They're role models. They're there during every office hours to share their thoughts and to have conversation. And they really, really have served as beacons of light and role models among the community of 40 in the classroom. It's been absolutely extraordinary to see. And I look forward to continuing that partnership in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Rupal. It's amazing. We are so wonderful. We're going to finish on time. I have just 2 minutes. So I want to do a quick shout out to some of the men on this call, because we talk a lot about women in leadership, but it was kind of funny at one particular point. Alexa sent me this message from a male student who said, hey, stop sending me this stuff. When you have something on men in leadership, get back to me. And the funny thing was our next speaker was Mitish Roop, and he was a man in leadership. So her response was, funny you ask, we hope to see you next week. In fact, we expect to see you next week at the speaker series. So a quick shout out to my colleagues. I want to thank Hongwei Du, who is out here. I know he's canceled a medical appointment to attend this session. I really appreciate your backing. And Vish Hegde, who was kind of on ground zero, and I was being persistent and annoying him with setting up this program. And so, you know, it takes all of us to make this happen. And I really do think that we are doing something fairly incredible. Students, mentors, sponsors, everyone out here has really made this possible. So a very heartfelt thank you for helping our students dream, achieve, and be the best selves that they can be. We're looking forward to wonderful things from them. And for everyone, I'm just going to say have a wonderful Mother's Day and honor the women in your lives. So thank you so much for joining us.